Yo, what's up guys, we are back today for Hope You're Happy Lemon, chapter 84. I really like this chapter. We got to see some more of Kogahara and her internal feelings, how she's perceiving this whole situation. And yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things that we could talk about here. If you're not caught up with Hope You're Happy Lemon, you really should, especially if you are into like romance, comedy, drama, manga. Honestly, this is probably one of the best ones out right now, and it only keeps getting better. But yeah, with that being said, let's just hop straight into the chapter. So off the previous few chapters, we had this little mini date arc with Lemon and Sunao. Right now in the story, Sunao is aiming for Kogahara, not Lemon, but Lemon somehow finessed her way into securing like a date hangout session with him. During this whole period, Lemon has been assuming, oh yes, this is a date. She never vocalized that to Sunao, but in Sunao's head, he's like, yeah, this might be a date, she might think that this is that, and he's just trying to keep a level head, right? Because his whole thing is, hey, we need to still be friends because I like your best friend right now. But essentially, this chapter focuses on the date after, and here they are body swapped yet again. And the beginning parts of this chapter are really focused on Sunao and his mentality right now. He really doesn't know how to think about the situation that he's in, right? He's starting to kind of get the feeling that Lemon wants to take things back to how they used to be, but he's really trying to, keep things cordial, stay friends. But because of the situation and the circumstances on which they broke apart, it's kind of hard for him not to still have some residual feelings left. I feel like that's really the big topic in this story, right? To me, this story really seems like it is trying to have a discussion on kind of the nuances of romance and relationships and how to deal with past people that you've been involved with, right? And here we're really just seeing Sunao just being, I wouldn't say indecisive is the right word. It did seem like that for like while they were on the date, but at this current point in time, it does seem that he still does like Kogahara and really doesn't want to get back with Lemon. That is, from my perspective, that's how I see it right now. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any differences or maybe ideas on what you think is kind of going on, what you think is going to happen in the future. But yeah, as we can see, Sunao is in Lemon's body right now, and because of everything that's going on, Sunao's like, okay, I need to go take a walk. And as he's about to leave the house, he runs into Kogahara. They have a little back and forth, but eventually it ends up with Kogahara saying, hey, do you want to walk to the station with me? And here, this is where we see Sunao, who is in Lemon's body right now, perk up and get all excited. So right now, to me, it still seems like Sunao does have feelings for Kogahara, but I think his just feelings for Lemon are just a little wishy-washy right now. Of course, he goes and says yes, because, he really does want to get closer with her. And yeah, I mean, as they're walking, they're talking, and as this is going on, Sunao is thinking in his head, what exactly does she know about what happened, just recently? Like this whole little escapade I just went on with Lemon. How much does Kogahara know of the truth, or what she even know? Does she even know that we went out together? And he does go and say, it's not like he has a problem with her knowing, but of course it's not gonna, be the best look. Because yeah, I was wrong on the last chapter. Kogahara does in fact know that Lemon and Sunao used to be in a relationship, and so that's why her character has been so, what's the word I'm looking for? Distant, or like treading very lightly with Sunao, just because, she doesn't want to break apart, her relationship with her best friend and someone she's having a crush on. But yeah, right now Sunao is just in his head. But eventually their conversation does steer towards Kogahara asking what Sunao did the day before, right? And because she says this, Sunao is like, oh, I guess Lemon didn't tell her about what they did yesterday. And because of that, he feels like he's comfortable enough to say, oh, he went to a book fair. He does look a little like spazzed out a little bit. I wouldn't say embarrassed, but it definitely looks like he's trying to hide something. He says he just hung out there. But eventually Kogahara asks, hey, did you go with a friend? And we can see in Sunao, well, in Lemon's face that, they're definitely trying to hide something. But yeah, eventually he does go and say, yeah, I went with a friend. But then, he quickly changes the subject and tries to avoid the whole situation. And yeah, this is kind of where their conversation drifts off as they are nearing the station, right? This was kind of like the introductory part of this chapter. The rest of it is focused on Kogahara and how her character is developing, right? I am liking the writing here right now, as it seems like Kogahara is not just, a blockhead. She is very much aware of what's going on around her. She's just not very decisive. The way that she has been trying to understand her feelings is through her friends at school. And she's just been very cryptic in giving, any information about the whole subject. And basically she's trying to explain this whole thing that's going on right now to one of her friends and trying to get her opinion on it. As she is explaining this, we can see just from the way that she's talking that she kind of knows that Lemon and Sunao went on this thing together, but she is also trying to understand what it means for Lemon in this case to basically not be very direct in telling her where she went, while the other person was more open towards it, right? And that's kind of the situation that we fall in, right? It's just Lemon is kind of doing underhanded tactics. I wouldn't say underhanded is not the right word, right? She's just trying to do whatever she can. She knows that what she's doing is not the best for her relationship with Kogahara or even Sunao in that, in the first place, but she really just can't let go of her past feelings, her residual feelings, and she is trying to come to terms with the mistakes that she made back then before they broke up. And yeah, she's just kind of literally saying, hey, I'll do whatever it takes, even have to, step over people. And I don't really want to do that, but she says she's gonna do it. But yeah, the friend doesn't really know too much. I forgot her name, I'm so sorry. But she doesn't really know which girl it is exactly, but she does know that Kogahara is talking about Sunao. Eventually, this girl leads Kogahara into some more private room and kind of tries to knock some sense into her, saying that she shouldn't be beating around the bush and that it's just too easy to read what she's thinking right now. And basically what she's doing here is putting forward the situation that Kogahara is trying to avoid, right? The worries and troubles that she's been having on her crush is or might be going on a date with some other girl, and this other girl is someone that she's close with. The thing I don't like here is that her friend is almost too aggressive or too assertive or too conclusive, right? She's just saying, yeah, no, there's no way it's not a date. And to me, this just seems like a little much for, especially the way that Kogahara kind of has been responding throughout the series, right? How her character has been developed. It seems like she's more of a passive kind of person. So to me, her friend's way of communicating this whole situation to me just seems a little, I don't know, it could have the wrong impression, but on the other hand, it could also kind of motivate Kogahara to, do something about the whole thing. They keep talking about this whole thing, but eventually her friend goes and asks the question, how would you feel if those two really did go on a date? Does it bother you? And Kogahara's response here is, I'm not really bothered, but I kind of wish that it was me. And this is kind of the confirmation or kind of the thing that we needed to get out of her character sooner or later, especially with the crazy development that's been going on with Lemon, right? Lemon is kind of the polar opposite when it comes to interacting with Sunao, right? She's just very upfront. She also has, at least I guess in Kogahara's mind, she also has the right to, because they used to be, romantically involved in the past, and they are currently in a situation where they are body swapping, so they have to be kind of close to each other, in contact with each other a lot more than Kogahara does with Sunao. But yeah, I really think it is time for Kogahara to kind of take a stand. And this is kind of the development that I wanted to see in the story. I thought personally that she already had enough confidence and enough, drive already before all this happened to go on a date with Sunao. But I guess this whole situation that just happened would give her some pause. But yeah, right now it really seems like her friend is trying to persuade her into furthering their relationship together. Her final lines are, then the answer is simple, isn't it? Just ask him out yourself, on a date. And we have Kogahara here with a little surprised expression, and that's the end of the chapter. So yeah, moving forward, I think we're going to see a lot more Kogahara focused chapters. To me personally, I think that Kogahara's character has so much potential to really make this series, stand out just because of the way that it's been set up so far. Most series or most, stories that do this, love triangle kind of thing, tend to not focus too much on one of the interests, or if it's a love polygon, it's you kind of know that one's gonna win from the start, or it's a complete mystery. Here we are actually getting, some development. We're not actually at the point yet where we're getting confrontation between Kogahara and Lemon, talking face to face about this whole situation and what's going on. I really hope that something like that will happen pretty soon, because it's not like I want to see Lemon get humbled and then just, you know, kind of get stepped on or be put down morally. It's more of, I think the story and these characters can actually, you know, progress and develop a lot better if Sunao and Kogahara get together first. I think it could give Lemon time to think about, you know, how her actions truly like affected Sunao. You know, she has seen it, like little bits and pieces of it, and she does now know the full story. But it's not like I also want to see some like, you know, thing where she's sitting in the chair. But I feel like that's just such a fine line, fine threshold that can easily be crossed in a series like this, where it almost feels like there's two main love interests. You know, one of them's gonna have to be sitting in the chair for part of the series. But yeah, overall, I think Hope You're Happy Lemon is going in a good direction. I think that there is a lot of things that need to be kind of fleshed out, and we do need to get a lot more development from Kogahara's side, especially her relationship with Sunao and how that develops. Because, you know, last thing I would want to see is that she is going to be like the Ruka of Rent-A-Girlfriend, where she just gets instantly shafted. But yeah, other than that, I'm pretty open to what the series has. If you guys have any ideas of what you think is going to happen, or any thoughts and opinions that you want to discuss, definitely let me know down in the comment section. And yeah, if you like this video and you want to see more of Hope You're Happy Lemon, definitely like and subscribe, because I am covering Lemon every week that it comes out. This chapter came out last week, but there was no chapter this week, so I'm covering it now. And, you know, in a week's time, there will be another chapter out. And yeah, that's really about it. So I'll see y'all.
I run away into the world with you. I'm not afraid. There's nothing more